Coming to you live from deep within, now very snowy radioactive wasteland, suddenly snowy, which is why we were having some technical difficulties completely outside of our control prior to the start of the show. We are the survivors of the alt-right Keck apocalypse. The few, the brave, the bitchy, once more wading into battle against the lawyery hordes? The litigious hordes?
The litigious hordes?
The defamatory hordes. The defamatory hordes. The vexatious hordes. With Rantzerker number 211, Crowder versus Dr. Chad, a tale of two strategies and how both failed. I am your host, Allison, and with me is Brian and Karen, the ineffable Karen. And we are going to be discussing two cases that have been in the news. The first is that of, I hope I get this right, Stuart Lucas Murray? Yeah, Lucas Murray, who was basically defamed by a bunch of women who I think he was in contact with through a dating site, and apparently he incurred their displeasure for reasons that sound like are incredibly petty, and they proceeded to make up stories about, or allegedly make up stories about him on a Facebook group, spread rumors, make his life more difficult, and he decided to sue them for defamation. And I've been looking at the court case and some of the latest proceedings, and yeah, it's very interesting. I have thoughts on this case. So that's Dr. Chad. I think one of the things that happened was that he was maybe expressing interest in multiple women at the same time. It's a little bit obscure, but we do have a video of their own testimony, like the women, well, not their testimony, but a press release that they have in response to sued for defamation, which we can look at and give our very, very erudite opinions on. And then also related, in terms of being about relationships, we have, we're going to be talking about Crowder's divorce, because that's pretty much something that's been on everybody's lips, and we have our own opinions on it and what it means. And the reason why I made this title is because essentially these two men pursued two very different strategies to try to succeed with the ladies, right? Dr. Chad went the strategy, I'm suspecting, from all of the hubbub and the smoke and what's going on. He went the strategy of, not being interested in monogamy, maybe keeping about, however many side pieces.
Playing the field.
Wild oats.
Yeah, so I've seen a picture of him. He's good looking. He's got a good job. He's a doctor. Just sowing his wild oats. Maybe he didn't want to settle down with any of them. Maybe he didn't even want to do anything with any of them. But unfortunately, despite not committing to a woman, he still got sort of screwed by them, allegedly, because they came together because they were unhappy with him not committing, perhaps, or not even being interested in them at all. And they decided to make his life a living hell.
Yeah, I have a story for you guys. Personal anecdote.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah. Is it Mike? Is it your husband?
It is Mike. And all I'm going to say...
He was dating?
All I'm going to say is if you're fucking two different women who live across the hall from each other and who both were the ones who initiated the trilateral relationship, let's say. Okay.
Situationship.
And you made and you made it clear that you were just not down for a relationship. You'd just been through a horrific breakup, whatever, right? But, you really like ass, okay? And you'd like to have something casual. And they're like, ooh, they even can convince you to have a threesome with them, right? Okay? If you knock on one of their doors and say, hey, would you like some company, which is code for, can I fuck you? And she says, no, I don't really feel like it tonight. Whatever you do not go knock on the other woman's door across the hall and fuck her instead. Because that's going to get you kicked out of the house.
And maybe threaten.
Oh
with
yeah,
the
no,
defense of
dancing
false
around the
allegation.
R word while the manager of the co-op was like deciding whether to evict him. Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's despicable behavior. In this case, I don't even think that he had sex with any of these women.
probably
I
not.
think
You don't need to have sex with a woman to make her feel like she was raped, Allison.
Oh, well, they didn't allege any kind of rape. They alleged internet harassment.
No, they feel like they were raped, Allison. Sometimes when a man doesn't have sex with a woman, that's what makes it feel like she was raped.
Yeah,
she was taken advantage of because he didn't have sex with her.
Yeah, I think that's more along the lines of what I'm seeing with this one. But that's one of the stories. Then we'll go through Crowder. And the reason why I brought them both up is like two very different strategies. One, playing the field, not settling down, not getting into legal entanglements. Crowder apparently saving himself for the one, so super monogamous, super K strategy, neither of which really ended well.
Yeah, no, apparently he was a virgin until marriage.
I remember him being on a Fox News panel, like when he was very young, with Amy Schumer, and they were debating this very thing. He was like, he believed very strongly in saving himself for marriage, and Amy Schumer, of course, famous for being a slut.
Oh yeah.
And you know, they had a little back and forth, and yeah, I mean, and now they're both miserable. So it's
yeah.
The break is not there. That's all I will say. If there is something broken, it's not there.
Well, I'm just saying,
it's two strategies, both of whom did not result in positive situation. And I'm not even exactly sure what. Okay, but anyway, sorry. I should do the things. So before we start, I would like to start with. Did you want to start with Crowder or with Dr. Q?
No, whatever you want to do, it's fine. For me, the Crowder thing is everyone, and they're still doing this on Twitter now. Everyone is talking about who is to blame and what makes who, you know, like a piece of shit for this or that reason. But I think that there is a lesson in how in the bias in people that are sort of chiming in, because I know the same thing that most people know, and I haven't like made any conclusive anything on it. And it's just really interesting to see, because ultimately what's happening with Crowders is that there is team women. That's what it is. It's not left or right. It's team woman. And when this shit happens, team woman, they circle the wagons, and no matter who they've advocated for in the past, whether it's Sydney Watson or Lauren Southern, they're just like, okay, fuck men, right? Like, I don't want to hear anything. I saw what I needed to see. I've made my judgment. That's it. And I think that it's a good idea to look at that, but well, we can start with whatever you are more comfortable with. So,
all right, then cue up the video from K-Cal, and we'll look at that, and we'll have commentary, and we may have.
So this is the news report's like 5 minutes long.
Yeah, we should be able to get through it quickly because it's a news report. They tend to be more concise.
Yeah.
Hopefully not a whole bunch of bullshit, but we might have to be very careful about the copyright. So be aware, people. There may be bananas incoming. But yeah, and before we get into it, let me do the things. So I just want to remind everyone, if you want to send us a message, the best way to do so is at feedthebadger.com/justthetip. That's feedthebadger.com/justthetip. You get the full benefit of avoiding YouTube, although I know a lot of you are now watching us on X, so thank you. Shout out to the X gang. You see, I stole your thing there, Brian. That's because.
Oh yeah, now I got to make an X-chan. Okay.
Yeah, you got to make an X-chan. But yeah, shout out to you guys. I don't think Twitter has a way of getting messages from you to us if you're listening through Twitter. So please go to feedthebadger.com/justthetip. It will pop up in our little Discord, and we'll be able to see it, and we'll comment on it, and Brian will do his magic to show it on the screen. And it'll all be great. So go to feedthebadger.com/justthetip. Really helps us out, like really does. Makes us feel like what we're doing is appreciated and we're not screaming into the void. And if you're on YouTube, you avoid the YouTube comment enhancement system. Let's call it that. And we are also doing our monthly fundraiser for the month of this month at feedthebadger.com/support. Please consider going. Just put that URL in your URL box, feedthebadger.com/support. And, you know, $5, $10, every bit helps. If everybody listening now gave us $10, we'd be done, because we have about 1,800 left to go for the month. So thank you to everybody who has supported so far. Very much appreciated. We do still need to get to that goal to make sure we cover all of our costs for the month. Feedthebadger.com/support. I might do some arm twisting if there's no movement. So, you know, be prepared for that. All right, let's go.
Okay, let's play some of this video.
Well, can a bad date land you a court date after you post about it online? Well, a group of local women say they are now forced to defend themselves in court after they took to social media to warn other women about a potential suitor. Tonight on Your Sites, Christine Lazar takes a look at the case and what it could mean for our free speech.
I don't know that they're going to be too bad about like us playing this.
Our free speech. Suddenly we're talking about our free speech when you're talking about actionable claims against a person or lies that you're potential lies that you're spreading against.
Well, I mean,
that's what defamation isn't free speech.
You see, that's where Gamergate went wrong. What they should have done is I guess fielded a whole bunch of women making false claims against somebody, against the games journalists. And then when they were like, but these are actionable claims, they could have said, well, don't take away their free speech. They have every right to make claims, lie about people and affect their business dealings and their relationships and their mental health. This is an absolute right, except it isn't. That's why we have defamation laws.
Yeah,
all right.
No, it's why we have laws against fraud, and laws against defamation, and laws against lying to police, and laws against perjury, you know, like laws against all kinds of speech.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
The First Amendment protects you from any laws meant to limit your free speech, but it doesn't prevent someone from taking you to court because they don't like what you said about them online. Now, a group of women say they're being
I don't know. I have never heard of that. How could anybody take somebody to court over something that they said and they get $93 fucking million? Because the guy said on True Social, oh, she's a total nut job, she's crazy, and I never met her.
Well, E. Jean Carroll, yeah.
$3 million for defamation.
She's a public figure too, right?
She's definitely. Well, I don't think she's a public figure, but she's definitely a limited purpose public figure. So she became a public figure when she went public with her accusation of sexual assault. And so any conversation about that, right? About the sexual assault that she's alleging, right? She is a public figure in light of that, right? And so you have to prove actual malice. So literally a man saying, I never met that bitch, I think she's crazy.
All right,
that
more.
Is unlawful.
That is the unlawful speech. Okay,
yeah.
All right.
Didn't like what they had to say about.
I think it's a matter of rules for thee, but not for me.
Oh yeah, no, it's a matter of perspective. It's always a matter of perspective, right? E. Jean Carroll can say she maybe even lie, you know, and I don't buy her story for a second. Bergdorf's an entire floor empty. They don't even have any like loss prevention personnel there, right? Let alone any commissioned salespeople tripping over each other and like pulling each other's hair out to get to Donald Trump and try and sell him thousands of dollars. And there's a dressing room unlocked in the lingerie section where you could walk away. You could walk out of the store with like $90,000 worth of merchandise under your clothes. Really? Oh yeah, no, that Totally happened. Totally happened. Okay?
Yep.
But because you can't prove it didn't happen, she can't be sued for lying. But he can be sued for doing it, and then he can be sued for denying that he did it.
And play more.
His
I'm sorry.
online dating behavior.
Anything is possible, really, when you meet strangers off the internet.
But most don't think comments about a bad date will lead to a defamation lawsuit filed by the guy they wish to forget.
I felt like I was being punked, honestly, just by the things that were coming out of his mouth.
Back in 2021, Olivia Berger had a single date with a guy she met online. She says she ended that date early and didn't think about him until years later when she saw this post in a private Facebook group called Are We Dating the Same Guy? The post had photos of...
I'm pausing it there for the banana, but we've talked about this website before. Karen, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. Allison says that she's got problems with her computer. Allison, restart or something, get on a different machine, stop supporting Apple. I don't know. She's gonna come back, so we're just gonna continue without her for now. So yeah, we've covered this. I don't know much about it. Are we dating the same guy? It's like a group of women that they basically like, I guess, you know, they form a whisper network around the men that they've dated, I guess.
I don't know. Like, are we dating the same guy? If you think your guy is cheating, you would maybe post that on a group.
Oh, so you share a picture of the guy. Oh, I see.
Yeah. And you'd be like, okay, is anybody else dating this freaking guy? Because I feel like I'm being cheated on, whatever. You know, that's... but, I mean... I'm curious if anyone has met so-and-so in person. I'm not sure if that's even his real name. Okay.
All right, let me play this.
Of her former date and read T in comments, asking if others had met him in person. Olivia weighed in.
I want to emphasize I had never had a date like this, ever.
Years before Olivia met him, Vanessa Valdez matched with him on a dating app. She also commented on the post.
Then I said, how is this?
What is this? Like, this is just like gossip.
Dating apps harassing
women.
no,
but
Vanessa says their first communication.
But she says, I've never had a date like this. Elaborate. Go on.
Yeah, right. They're not even saying anything. Allison, are you back?
Suspicious? Yes, I'm back.
Okay.
But isn't that not suspicious? I mean, I just feel something, but no actual. Well, what happened?
Well, no. I mean, maybe something did.
I got the ick. Okay, it's the ick, Allison.
No, it wasn't actually. You know what happened? Well, at least according to him, who actually explained what happened. They met for like 15 minutes, according to him, and he left because he wasn't interested.
Oh, so he's
not
an
find her
autist.
attractive. That's it.
So he's an autist.
What do you mean he's an autist?
Well, you ask a woman out for a date. You spend you have to put in at least an hour and then say, well, you know, I'm sorry, but I'm not interested or whatever, and then leave, right? You wouldn't be like, okay, 15 minutes, impress me, right? And then be like, yeah, no, I'm out of here. I know. It was 15 minutes. She didn't impress him, so he fucked off, right?
Yeah?
Yeah, that's a little rude. It's his prerogative, sure, but it's still not very courteous, is what I'm saying. So I'm saying, okay, so he's an autist.
All right.
Either that or he's like so high status that he can just like go from, you know, it's like speed dating. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, if you're going to speed date, you go to a speed dating thing. Like, okay, it's unusual. I did a lot of dating. I never had any man just basically up and leave after 15 minutes. And I have had men who we managed in the parking lot after we decided that, okay, this is just not going to work. We managed in the parking lot to be like, okay, you know, I actually like you better now that I'm not trying to date you.
You could have saw some red flags right off the bat too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, honestly, it's.
She could have like opened up with, you know, how many kids do you want? And he was like, oh, whoa.
Oh God.
You know?
Yeah. No. How many kids do you want this week?
Yeah.
And or just like maybe she took out a picture of her mother and he looked into his fucking future. You never know.
For sure. All right, let's play some more.
With anything but routine. He took issue with her having a male friend in one of her profile photos, and in a message called her a moron and wrote, "It's fun watching you burn."
And at that point, my stomach dropped.
What the frick?
Hearing someone say it's fun watching you burn, a stranger from the internet, it was very unsettling.
Vanessa.
What the hell? Okay, so this is the entire thing that they're hanging this on. A testy interaction online. Like, have they ever been online? Also, what was the stuff that was before that? Like,
I'd like to see the whole context. It is.
Yeah, I'd like to see the whole context. I guess.
I don't know. I have the feeling he's trying to be like, he's trying to go full on Andrew Tate, but he's actually not good at it.
No, he's not. Like, here's the problem, Karen. He wasn't interested.
But when you have someone who's trying to neg their way into a relationship with a woman, and they're just not charming, they're just not charismatic, they're just not good at actually negging, at actually leveraging those psychological, I guess, tools, right? It comes off as clunky and retarded, and this guy is coming off as clunky and retarded. Is he coming off as criminal? No.
Well, first of all, he wasn't interested in her. Like, this is at least from his point of view. He had, if this is indeed the person he was supposedly dated for 15 minutes.
No. This is a different person, Allison. The person that he dated for 15 minutes was a different person, and then this one is like, oh yeah.
Okay, well, I was missing part of this because I wasn't here. But
she just interacted with him online and complained about the fact that he had a man in her profile. She had a man in her profile pic.
All right, okay, so this is all right. Fair enough. So what? So, this is just a nasty online internet or exchange.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those things should never happen, Allison. Women's experience on the internet should always be pleasant.
How are you gonna? How can you preserve women's free speech and oppose nasty online internet interactions? Because I can tell you, 95% of the nastiness I've seen received online has been from women.
Oh yeah.
Okay, let's keep going.
Vanessa responded that he should stay away from women and get help before reporting him to the dating app. And that's the info she says she relayed on that Facebook post.
But in my post, I redacted his phone number and just tell the truth and share my experience.
But her version of the truth will now be put to the test. The guy she and Olivia and 10 other women claim to have dated and later dissed in the Are We Dating the Same Guy Facebook group are now being sued for defamation, sex-based discrimination, and invasion of privacy by
based. What are they doxing him by putting his picture out there?
They already did. Well, I mean, this is now probably public record. Like, they've already put his picture up.
Well, it's a matter of public record. You're looking at a court filing.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so I mean,
true.
like, he can't. He's not a rape victim. There's no publication ban. Well, and if he's suing them for defamation, and he genuinely feels defamed, genuinely feels defamed, he would want his picture out there.
Yeah, that's true.
By a man named Stuart Lucas Murray.
I think my initial reaction is, this can't go anywhere. There's nothing I said that wasn't true. But yeah, I felt silenced. I felt like I was being intimidated into silence.
And that could be a problem, according to defamation attorney Jeff Lewis.
In First Amendment world, we call that a chilling effect, meaning when people fear they're going to be sued, they either stop talking or they change what they're going to say because they're worried they're going to be sued.
Lewis says anyone...
You guys want to respond to that?
Okay.
Jeff
Okay.
Lewis?
This is the United States here. Yeah. No. It
Yeah,
is a
Los
chilling
Angeles.
Effect. Okay. There is a chilling effect on free speech when people get overly litigious on defamation claims and stuff like that, right? Vexatious in their litigiousness. But that does not have any bearing on whether this case was a case of defamation or not. I mean, like, I have the feeling it will probably be dismissed pre-trial due to that. But
yeah.
But I would have to know exactly down to the freaking letter what they said publicly about him in order to know if, but I can predict it's going to be dismissed pre-trial on a summary judgment.
One can sue another person for what they say about them online, but that doesn't mean they'll win.
You know, the best way to avoid being sued for saying things on the internet is to say things that are true or that are opinion. And if you step outside of truth or opinion, there's a good chance you might get sued if it's something negative.
In this case, the women say...
You mean fraud or defamation?
Yeah. So laws exist, women most affected, basically, is what...
Yeah, basically. There is a legal system, women most affected.
No.
That's what they did. They spoke their truth. Murray disagrees.
They spoke their truth.
Lawsuit.
Her truth! This is where we are now. They can just put this on the news. Nobody questions it. She spoke her truth.
They're not doing these women any favors. Their truth?
We're just lying about reality now.
That's called a lie.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Okay, no. It's not necessarily a lie. There's the truth, there's opinion, and there's lies. Well, no, there's the truth, there's opinion, there's false statements, and then there's lies. And
yeah,
like you might think, okay, that a false statement is a lie. No. If I repeat something that I believe, that I was told, that I believe to be true, I have no intent to deceive. Therefore, I'm not lying. I'm making a false statement, right? But I'm not lying. And so it's, I have no malice. I have no intent to deceive. And therefore, I shouldn't be sued over that, right? So it's like this, you're getting into like really murky legal territory here. This guy, I don't know who his lawyer is. Not a very good lawyer to even, well, I mean, I guess he's a good lawyer if he's being paid to do something that's, you know, that his client wants, but
okay, so I mean,
but I just can't see this lawsuit ending well for Mr. Murray here. Yeah.
Well, I believe that it hasn't been dismissed, so there must be some merit to it.
There has to be some kind of factual statement that was false. It can't be a matter of, oh, he's creepy, or oh, I'm scared of him, right? Like, because that's subjective, that's opinion, right? It has to have been.
It has to be, but I'm pretty sure that they alleged harassment. So they did actually allege something that's potentially criminal. You can't accuse people of engaging in criminal acts. Yeah, you can't accuse people of engaging in criminal acts. That is or being criminal. Oh yes, actually they did. They said that he was part of, or he may have been complicit with his wife's murder, or a murder of a previous partner, and that he was convicted of domestic violence. So they were actually I'm pretty sure, at least according to him, they were alleging actual criminal act on his part.
Oh,
So
yeah,
they,
no, that's...
They are in the crosshairs for that. Now that is according. We can go into that when we get into his GoFundMe. Which is his,
but it's like I'm looking at what's in this news report, and I'm thinking, well, if that's all there is.
Yeah, they're not showing what the news typically is not showing you the whole story because they're on Team Woman.
Well, they're not showing you the most important parts of the story.
They're massaging this. Now, like I said, he's going to have to prove that they accused him of criminal activities, but that is definitely against the law. I didn't know if people that you cannot.
Well, it's not.
Accuse
It's actually, Allison. It's not against the law to accuse someone of criminal activity if you think they did it.
No, to say that they did it, or
to knowingly make a false accusation, right, is not the same as
no. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about they said he did this, so they said he was convicted of it. So, or that he was, we'll get into it when we get into his statements. Keep going, Brian. Have we lost
claims
our
one of the women falsely said he was involved in the murder of his ex-wife. Another said he had STDs. Both Olivia and Vanessa say they never posted that or saw any other women make comments of that nature. In a statement to us,
of course you're going to say that,
says
ladies.
He has never met, much less dated, some of the women posting about him. He went on to accuse the women of catfishing him, saying they posted highly filtered and enhanced photos on their dating profiles, concluding perhaps these women are not successful at dating for obvious reasons. Lewis believes this case will.
I'm just pausing there.
Well,
I think what happened.
The first woman, I could see her catfishing. Yeah.
Well, I think what happened is the woman.
Well, she had her cleavage out like in the freaking interview, like.
Okay, the first woman who he actually
met? One he spent 15 minutes with, yeah.
Yeah, I bet what happened was
she's a solid very.
Yeah, but she was presenting herself as much higher. Also, they're using really unflattering photos of him. Okay, let's keep going.
That's true.
Will make it to court.
Because a judge at this early stage can't believe one side or the other, that's a jury question. So this case will likely go to trial if it doesn't settle.
And without representation and not a lot of expendable
income,
that's some damage control
lawsuit, there.
The women
bullshit.
This could.
Okay, I'm pretty sure Women's Legal Aid has gotten involved, so they have.
Yeah, of course.
They have deep pockets, and all of the feminist NGOs whose bread and butter is these kinds of allegations made against men, they're going to be chipping in too. Everybody who defended Amber Heard, they're going to be chipping in. Believe me, these women have an ocean of money to draw on.
Oh, and let's not forget Gian Gomeshi, please.
Okay, I did forget him, but
he was like the Canadian celebrity guy that would like have like really weird kind of
show host who freaking
radio guy, and he would have like BDSM sex with women, like choking them and shit.
He was found not guilty because they lied like fucking rugs, and they played
there were email. He kept all his receipts. I think he's lucky because of that, honestly,
including the receipt for the flowers that the one woman sent him the day after they supposedly spent the weekend together. She flew home and immediately ordered him flowers and had them sent to his house, and he kept the receipt for that. And then 10 years later, she's like, halfway through the weekend, he assaulted me, and then I didn't spend any more time with him. He kept the photos, everything. Like, he kept everything. And it's like, well,
And then the Canadian...
women just lied and lied and lied and lied and lied.
And then the Canadian judicial system said, we're never going to let that happen again.
Well,
I'm pretty sure they changed stuff now so that...
Oh God, no! No, that was RVJA in 2010.
Was that the condom poking one?
Oh no, that's a totally different one. RVJA.
Okay.
RVJA was a judgment where, okay, so you got these two BDSM enthusiasts, right? And they've been in a relationship for like, I don't know, 8 years or something like that, right? They're living common law. They have a 5-year-old son. And in the course, and this is actually from the judgment, I'm trying to remember the exact quote. During the course of conjugal relations, okay, one night, JA, right, and his wife, right, he choked out his wife, okay, and tied her up when she was unconscious. He tied her up, and it is a finding of fact before the court that she was unconscious for about 3 minutes. He tied her up and he inserted a sex toy into her bum. Okay, and then she woke up, and he removed the toy and untied her, and they continued to have sex throughout the course of the evening. Okay, everything was totally consensual, right? And then a couple months later, they have some epic end of the relationship fight, and he yells at her that he's going to seek custody of their son. And then she accuses him of raping her. Okay, and so he was convicted of rape, and then he appealed because she lied on the stand, mind you. She lied on the stand. She said, well, yeah, okay, so I agreed to have sex with him, and I agreed to be choked out, but I even agreed to be tied up, but I didn't agree to that whole dildo up my bum thing. Okay, didn't agree to that, right? Did not consent to that. And that was like, he just sprung that one on me while I was unconscious. And
hey-o.
Hey-o. And so he was convicted, right? Then it comes out, okay, during the appeal, that she actually lied about it, right?
Surprise.
That she had agreed. She had agreed to all of these things, and she only had made the accusation because he threatened to seek custody of their son. Okay.
Yeah, what did the Canadian government do?
So then, okay, then the conviction was overturned. Okay, but because we don't have double jeopardy laws in Canada, right? The prosecution went after him again. Okay, because I guess because one of the appeal court judges posed the question, but wait, can you consent in advance to sexual activity that will happen when you're unconscious? Right? Like, this is a significant legal question. And so it went up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said, nope, you can't. And so, yes, you can agree before you go under the frickin' gas to have surgery. You can agree to all kinds of things, right? Ooh, if there's an emergency. Ooh, if we accidentally nick an artery. Ooh, if like we notice that your appendix is inflamed while we're in there, right? Ooh, if we spot cancer in other spots in your abdomen, you know, Allison, you and I are going to a party, and I'm planning on getting really drunk. Can you make sure I get home safe? Okay. And I go unconscious, and you pick me up and take me into that's kidnapping now. Right? Okay. Yeah, no, because you can't consent in advance to anything that will happen while you're not conscious.
Because in our patriarchy, we need to be able to, like, when a woman makes a malicious false accusation against a man, heaven and earth needs to be moved.
They'll change the law to make it so her accusation is true in principle, and the guy went back to prison, right? And she didn't get prosecuted for perjury or nothing. So,
yeah, that's basically it. Yeah,
no,
that's the thing.
Patriarchy. Patriarchy oppresses women.
And
I'm thinking to myself, like, if I was a BDSM enthusiast in Canada, I'd be moving to fucking Antigua.
Okay, well, any men who are BDSM enthusiasts in Canada, you might want to consider this. Be very careful. Apparently, even prior consent is irrelevant. At any point in time, you're going to jail. If
the court accepted that at no point during the events of that night, while she had a state of mind, was her state of mind not one of full consent, enthusiastic consent. She was enthusiastically consenting before she was rendered unconscious. She was enthusiastically consenting when she was roused from unconsciousness, and she continued to be enthusiastically consenting for hours afterwards, right? At no point in that evening did she have a state of mind that was unconsenting. Okay?
And yet,
and he literally said, right, consent law exists to protect women. Okay? And this is why it's so frickin' gynocentric, right? Consent law exists to protect women from acts that they do not want to engage in. Okay? It is not there to prohibit women from engaging in acts that they do. So even the dissenting judge is like, it's still all about the women.
Yeah. Yeah. There is in Canada. Since the 60s, there is law only protecting women. So we have a legal system in which there's law that only protects women. That's its only purpose. And it's unbelievable. And we keep going further and further into this, right? The idea that we live in a patriarchy that puts women over men, or men over women, sorry, Freudian slip, is bullshit. And we never did. Because if you look back throughout history, there have been plenty of instances where women had more protections in law than men did. Certainly against being expected to sacrifice themselves for the defense and protection, the defense and provision of their society. Okay? So
every single society going back to like freaking Mesopotamia, right, has had provisions, legal provisions designed to protect and provide for women and children. And who was expected to do that? It was men. And including sexual protections, right? The only thing that protected Joseph from Potiphar's wife was, I guess, the "thou shalt not bear false witness." That's it.
And nothing protected Joseph. I think it was Jacob. Who is it? The one that the Handmaid's Tale is based on. I believe it's Jacob, from his wife and his second wife that he didn't want, and all of their impositions on him. Nothing protected him, and it ended up. Margaret Atwood looked at that tale, which was like wall to wall sexual abuse and extortion of a man, and also prostitution of a man, and turned it into The Handmaid's Tale. It's astounding. Feminists can somehow appropriate stuff that's done to men, erase that it's done to men, and present it as being done to women. And it's astounding to watch the process here. But anyway, getting back to this problem.
Salome, bring me the head of John the Baptist.
What's interesting is that I believe this is their lawyer that's speaking, or maybe it's somebody who's on call for this particular news agency, but like their legal expert. Extremely sleazy guy looking though, so props. He definitely looks like a lawyer. He said this is likely to go ahead because the bar of evidence is so low. That's bullshit. Like Karen was saying, she was surprised it would go to trial. So the fact that it's continuing forward.
Well, they must have said some fucked up shit that they didn't share.
They must have
said
some fucked up shit that they did not share in this news story. If their lawyer or this lawyer is saying, "Oh, well, it'll go ahead to trial," but that doesn't mean anything. Oh, it does mean something, friends. It definitely means something. Okay, let's keep going.
All right, I got some super chats I'm going to read through really quick, and then we'll keep going. So I got one from Richard Bier for $5. And he says, I doubt that Amy is having to shell out $25K a month to any previous partner, though. Every $5 is the last $5 we need. If everyone watching can kick in just $5, this fundraising effort can be completed. Thank you, Richard. Really appreciate that. And then another one from Richard Bier for $5. And he says, there is a legal concept known as the doctrine of clean hands when engaging in civil action. I don't know if you guys want to say anything to that real quick before I move on to the next one.
Let me look it up.
Yeah.
All right, I'll read the next one in the meantime.
Congratulations.
FYI, sorry, I'm reading it wrong. FYI gives us $5 and says, Wikipedia is becoming more propagandized. There is a cool site called everybodywiki.com whose goal is to save pages from Wikipedia before they are deleted, censored, or memory hold. Thank you for that. Yes, we know. And then I got one more from Richard Bier again. He gives us $5 and says, Terrence Pop wants a drinking rematch with Karen. I don't know if you guys, was that a thing that happened?
What?
Terrence Pop, did you have a drinking match with him?
Oh, no, I could drink him under the table, 100%. He doesn't really drink that much.
I think he just holds a bottle.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Well, okay, no, he does drink, but he doesn't drink a whole lot.
Like
At
beer.
least not the last time I saw him back in 2019, but
that reminds me. This individual, Stuart Murray, Dr. Stuart Murray, has actually also sued cheaters.com and I think a related action, which has been
the show Cheaters?
No, cheaters.com website.
Yeah, Cheaters. Is that based on the old show Cheaters? You guys remember that show?
I don't think so. I think it's probably it's like
a
some
dating
random
site. It's like an Ashley Madison knockoff.
Oh, yeah. I see. Okay,
so he's suing them.
No, it's not an Ashley Madison knockoff. It's not a dating site. Sorry, it's a I'm gonna badmouth my man as a cheater.
Yeah, that's another one of these rumor mills that women use to enforce these toxic social norms or social approborum or social punishments on men without any judicial oversight, because we're all about no accountability.
We should have there should be a website called sluts.com for men. Like it'd be like, you know what I mean? Like silencehole.com.
In homage to Terrence Pop, slurs.
Yeah.
Slurs.
Yeah,
well, I mean, but to be fair, it really should call out women who use these kind of tactics to harm men. And it's despicable because there is no oversight over this. They're trying to apply punishments without any consequences. Well, now there are consequences. This is what they're talking about, it being chilling.
Yeah, the clean hands doctrine is that it's in terms of laws of equity, so courts of equity, which are generally men versus women courts. If you come into the courtroom with clean hands, if you come in good faith, if you're making a claim in good faith or defending yourself from a claim in good faith, right? But if you're not, if you're acting in bad faith, if you're a bad faith actor, your case can be dismissed, like out of hand.
All right.
Just because.
All right, so the clean hands doctrines might apply in this way because he's also has another pending litigation against something for something similar. So they might have looked at this and said, okay, well, he's a vexatious litigant. They haven't. Okay, so there's probably something legitimate in both claims. And it may have been that he went after cheaters.com or whatever it is in order to try to track people down, if that makes sense. Because you actually have to be able to know their legal name before you can issue some. You can actually issue a sum or whatever it is, like make them
summary
aware.
Judgment, dismissal, whatever.
Well, before you can issue a claim against them, like remember
statement of claim.
Yeah, remember what we had to go through to even identify the legal name of the Calgary Expo? You remember that shit?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Christ.
I'm thinking the one may have been to try to extract the names of the bad actors from whatever. It might have been, I don't know. But anyway, the courts haven't used the fact that he's started in a very similar claim, another one, as evidence that, clean hands doctrine, he's a vexatious litigant. I don't know if I'm correct from this estimation, but again, the fact that this lawyer is practicing some damage control with what he's saying about if it goes forward, that doesn't mean anything. No, it does. It does mean something.
Okay. Okay. I'm just looking up this an example, right? So a plaintiff so the defendant opened an account at a pharmacy for the benefit of the plaintiff so the plaintiff could obtain medication for his work-related injuries. The plaintiff charged items unrelated to those work-related injuries. The defendant closed the account and the plaintiff sued to keep the account open. The court held that the plaintiff's abuse of the account necessitated a finding that the plaintiff had unclean hands. So basically, if you committed, so you're like, okay, I'm suing the boss, or I want my boss to pay for my work-related injuries, and then you just use that account to pay for all kinds of other meds as well, and then your boss closes the account, and then you sue to have it opened up again. And no, you were actually abusing the account. So I mean, it's basically, have you been an asshole?
Yes. So what I think Richard is trying to get at is if this is going forward, the courts, it's doing so because he probably hasn't been an asshole. He hasn't been necessarily abusing things. And also there's legitimacy to it. Okay? So this is like when the lawyer's poo-pooing all this and like, oh, he's doing damage control here, friends.
Well, he's talking about like things that are even more murky than clean hands, right? Which is the chilling effect. And that doesn't.
Yeah, well, that's all they got. That's all they got is an appeal to the general women, man targeted by false rumors that harmed his life, of criminality that harmed his life. Women most affected, guys. Yeah. Women. We got to save the women. It's just basically shuck and jive. All right, let's finish this off because we want to get to his statements.
All right.
Could bankrupt them.
At the end of the day, these kinds of suits don't just affect me and Vanessa and our co-defendants, and I feel that a lot of times women are still being silenced.
In January, a similar lawsuit was filed in Chicago by a man who was also the subject of a post in the Facebook group, Are We Dating the Same Guy? I did reach out to the moderator of that group, but she has not responded. That moderator, by the way, has created a fundraiser to help the women in Chicago being sued. But these women here in LA says she has not offered to help them.
Probably because it's a much worse situation. Like honestly, I think that says something too. No, you don't? Like she's helping the set of Chicago women Maybe in that case it is a vexatious litigant, but she's not helping these women.
Maybe.
You know, who knows? But we should get to the actual like testimony, shall we say? So,
so is that the is that like a different link? I want to know which one it is.
Yes.
So I put the right is it the GoFundMe that you sent me just now?
Yes, it is the GoFundMe. It's the GoFundMe.
Is it?
It should be. Yeah. I sent it to you, so you should have it handy.
Yeah, I have it. It's up. I just wanted to make sure I'm looking. I can read it,
but I'd have to switch to a different computer. I have to switch to my.
No, I got it. I got it up on the screen. I'm sharing it right now. Right?
Oh, harassment, cyber.
No, this is his. This is his. This is his, because he's making the claim that they're stalking him. Which let's go through.
Support the cause against AWDTS. Are we dating the same guy? Harassment.
Yeah.
Hi,
okay,
I'll read it all.
I'm not making this as like a a call out.
You're not promoting this
GoFundMe. I'm just saying, if you want to
using it as a source.
If you want to see his GoFundMe yourselves, you can look up Stuart Lucas Murray. If this is all above board, which you have to determine yourself, don't rely on us. Always think for yourself. If this is above board, this is a really important case, because it puts women on blast that they can't engage in malicious slander or defamation, whichever, I don't know, against men for nothing, because they just feel pissed, because their emotions are wibbly wobbly. Like, it's you can't do that. And honestly, that's a good thing. You shouldn't be able to harm people with your words, like, and legitimately, like with legally. I mean, I'm not talking about insults or hate speech, or what they call hate speech. I'm talking about things, lying about people, about their criminal actions, lying about their business practices, lying about things that cause them financial and social harm. Right? False accusations in the social sphere. Like, this is not acceptable behavior. It's not spilling the tea. It's being a creep. And in many cases, it's being a creep who's running afoul of the law. All right, let's read what he has to say. So if this is all above board, this is, I think, a very important case. So you might want to consider going there, checking it out, and finding out for yourself if you think it's something you want to help out. I'm not going to say whether or not, I'm not going to make an endorsement, but go there and figure out for yourself if you want to make help this situation out, help this guy out. All right, let's go read it.
All right. Support the cause against Are We Dating the Same Guy harassment. He's at 3,140 out of 60,000. Dr. Stuart Lucas Murray is organizing this fundraiser. Hi, my name is Dr. Stuart Lucas Murray, plaintiff of case number 23-STCV-14890. For several months, key defendants stalked and spread misinformation about me in the Are We Dating the Same Guy Facebook group. Like millions of people who were posted about in these groups, I was restricted from defending myself. To explain, after matching with one woman on a dating app and giving her my phone number, I ultimately blocked her when I became suspicious of her pictures and lost interest in meeting her. Instead of going her separate way, she posted about me in a few of these Facebook groups, obsessively digging for information, bumping her own original posts about me multiple times in a year, and later calling me a viral subject. Yikes. To emphasize, I have never met this person in my life, and the first time I ever really saw her face was on TV when she took part in a press release about me. At least 238 Facebook accounts participated in harming me for over a year. Some of their acts included posting my pictures without my permission, tracking my whereabouts, conspiring to harass me, fabricating entire stories, and sensationalizing their unremarkable interactions with me. As of now, I am suing 10 of them who stepped over the line. I will be going into these causes in detail. I am not there. Go ahead.
I wanted, and I apologize if we talk over each other. It's just because it's a little difficult. We can't see each other, but I just want to point out that you notice how he's actually saying what's happening. You know, he's not saying I feel and oh, this was horrible. And then like he's not omitting details about the actual events. and what occurred. Because what's really interesting is I found with women's allegations is that oftentimes women will make an allegation of nothing. You know what I'm talking about, Brian? It's like
absolutely 100%. They'll say things like I didn't feel safe, or
but they'll make an allegation about an incident, and they will omit what actually happened, and then say, well, yeah, like you said, I didn't feel safe. I felt like he didn't.
I was afraid.
He
gave me the ick.
They'll just skip what happened and go right to their emotions, and it's like, what was the allegation? What are you alleging he did? What is the actionable action here? And that there's nothing. It's just this wibbly wobbly happened, and then I felt crushed in my women parts, in my soul, women's soul parts.
Oh, my ovaries were so sore after that.
Yeah, my brain parts were stinging. I don't know, like
no, my hippocampus.
It was
really suffering.
It was really ringing. It was making
the memories sound. Went right into my hippocampus.
It was agitating my.
Bonus points for anyone who gets that reference.
Okay, I didn't, so I get no bonus point.
The memory went straight into my hippocampus.
Do you mean this is like a brain?
Christine Blasey Ford, testimony before Congress during the Senate
Lord. Are you freaking? I thought I was going really like into the hyperbole. So they actually, one of these women actually did that.
She was like, sometime in the 1990s, I'm not sure when and I'm not sure where, Brett Kavanaugh felt me up under my clothes, but over my bathing suit at a house party. And the memory of that went right into my hippocampus.
And there are people who literally believe that story still, to this day.
I know all about the hippocampus because I'm a psychology professor.
Yep.
Okay, well, hippocampus is aside, like this.
Anyway, like she literally testified to that. The memory went straight into my hippocampus.
And everybody ran with it.
It's deep in my hippocampus.
Okay.
Okay.
But is it in the cockles of your heart, or possibly in the subcockle region of your heart? Maybe in your testes, prostate, somewhere in around there. Is the memory in there? Is it in your colon?
Pituitary.
Your fecal sac. I mean, your cecal sac. Your appendix. Is it in your appendix?
Pancreas?
Is it in any of your islets of Langerhans?
Your spleen?
Ms. Christine Blasey Ford? Is it somewhere there? Maybe it's in your third interstitial nucleus of your anterior hypothalamus. Maybe that's where it went.
Okay. I'm going to finish reading this.
Where it would be if you thought you were actually a man. Never mind. Moving on.
Keep going.
At least 238 Facebook accounts participated in harming me for over a year.
No,
some of their acts included... What?
You already read it. I am not their only victim. That's where we picked up.
Oh. I am not their only victim. To give you a glimpse of how far these defendants go, please see below. Only viewable on tablets and smartphones. These defendants have been admonished for their acts against innocent people by others unrelated to this case. We have screenshots, so I don't know because it says unable to view, but okay, Kel, this is not okay. Stop gossiping about this dead man. To be fair, I had no idea he had passed when I made the post. Just to be clear, it's okay to gossip about men who are alive and not able to see the page or defend anything, but not ones who unknowingly passed. This page is supposed to be a safe space to call out men who have been disrespectful. That's what he did. Him dying doesn't change his behavior in life. Here they are, Amir, trying to gossip mill and keep you out of the dating pool. I don't get good vibes. Sound like a high school locker room. Gee, I don't know, Liv Burger. Maybe people change. We didn't get good vibes from your comments either. Okay, those are weird posts, but okay. Citing freedom of speech, these women put their needs, insecurities, and amusement over the privacy and rights of others. However, when it comes to shining a light on these cyberbullies who type in the shadows, the sentiment changes. Calling herself anonymous defendant on her GoFundMe and depicting themselves with an image of women hiding their faces, the message is different. Privacy is important to these defendants. They value privacy for themselves, but do not see that it is that as a right for others. Is truly disgusting. Free speech relates to government prosecution. Whereas in other countries you might get arrested for disagreeing with your government, the United States does not prosecute you for such speech. I mean, but they're working on that. Free speech does not relate to civil acts that harm other people like defamation and invasion of privacy. The government does not protect your unprivileged communication, and the courts will decide if you have harmed someone. This is a case of prosecuting people who invade privacy, skew facts about others, harass others, gang stalk, and cyberbully. They thought they could get away with it. This is a case that must go to trial and prevail so that we all can enjoy genuine free speech without fear of being violated. I support a safe space for women to protect themselves against being stalked, harassed, or harmed, and not the other way around. These women exploited the concept of a safe space to gossip, defame, and cyberbully anyone at whim. The acts of these defendants are hate-filled and unrelenting. As many of you know, the moderator Paola Sanchez allegedly banned some or all of them from these Facebook groups. They have since gone on national TV and created a GoFundMe page to ramble about me. Let me reiterate, I have never met most of them in my life. I have barely talked to, if ever, any of them. I only recall meeting one of them and her for less than 15 minutes before I left. Any minimal interaction with them was abruptly cut off by my swift rejection. When I saw them on TV to hold a press conference about me, it was the first time I was seeing most of their faces. They are begging the nation for money. Many people have instead reached out to me to contribute to my cause. I am just one individual juggling the endless antics of several defendants who have so far flooded me with a barrage of media inquiries and false statements. I hope to pave the way for millions of victims, most unaware they are subjects of trashy posts by trashy women. If you support my cause, please go ahead and donate, anonymously if needed. The funds will go into the vast amount of legal fees, damage expert, deposition expenses, research, and time to deal with an overwhelming amount of work against multiple defendants. Did you want to say something?
If you want, okay, so he's there. It's just some more statements on, that this is important. We got a lot of work ahead of us. Okay, so what I did was I actually took a look at his current lawsuit against one of the two of the women, well, all of the women who were speaking, and I looked at where they were in terms of documents now, or what has been filed. Now, I would have to go back and I'd have to use the crappy mic to look much more closely at all this. You know what? I'm going to do that. I apologize, people. My sound's about to get crappy because I got to go to the research computer.
All right. You see how it's crappy, right?
Oh, God.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's fine.
It's fine. All right. So I'm looking up this stuff on Trellis. You guys can look it up too, using his case number. The cause
Just send me. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, you may not be able. I'll send you the link, so you can
put it in the Discord if you're able. If not, don't worry about it. You can just tell me.
I just sent it through the Discord. So the causes of action are defamation, libel, third cause of action, false light. I'm not exactly sure what that is. It's probably a abbreviation. Invasion of privacy, deprivation of constitutional rights pursuant to California Civil Court. Intentional infliction of emotional distress, negligent interference with prospective economic advantage. So, and declaratory release. So essentially he's saying that they also interfered with his business or his ability to have a career, which I wouldn't be surprised. And what I heard that they alleged, or at least allegedly that they accused him of, was that he was involved in the murder of a former partner, which he said she died of cancer, and also that he was convicted of domestic violence. So that's definitely something that you can't do. You cannot say that people have been subject to convictions for criminal activities. All right, so I don't know if he has his own lawyer, but I will say some people have said, oh, he's a doctor, he can cover the legal fees. No, this is a black hole, especially because I'm looking at like the updates. Are you able to see this stuff here?
Let me share this tab instead. So, I'm looking at well, there's a thing where I can download or print the docket, but I don't have to do that, right?
No. Well, I mean, the thing is, you probably can't access a lot of the information because you're not logged in.
Yeah, I don't have an account.
But I can't actually show people what I'm seeing. But it's a little bit confusing because it's legal stuff. It's like spaghetti. But essentially, what I looked at is first of all, it hasn't been dismissed, and right now, the latest news is that the one of the women. Let me look at what I sent here. So the latest is a declaration, like a decision on a motion, and the motion was a protective order requested by one of the women. Okay. Now I would actually have to ask Karen if this is an ongoing court case, but essentially what this woman did is she put in a motion for a protective order. And this is the court statement on that. It was denied, by the way. It was denied by the judge.
Okay.
When an inspection, copying, testing, or sampling of documents, tangible things, places, or electronically stored information. You know what? Should I get on the better mic for reading this? Because this might be painful. I don't know.
That's fine.
Okay. Our electronically stored information has been demanded. The party to whom the demand has been directed and any other party affected person may promptly move for a protective order. The party moving for the order must make a showing of good cause to spare them from unwanted annoyance, embarrassment, or oppression, or undue burden and expense. Defendant Vanessa Vadels moves for a protective order for discovery served upon her by plaintiff Stuart Lucas Murray. So this is
she doesn't want to actually release her
information. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it gets even more crazy. All right, let me continue this. Moves for a protective order for discovery served upon her by plaintiff Stuart Lucas Murray. Defendant writes nominally in response to the motion for discovery filed by plaintiff and argues that the discovery sought is overbroad, unduly burdensome, irrelevant, privileged, and private. So essentially what we have, the latest information about this case is that Vanessa Valdez, I believe that's how you say it, has moved for a protective order. But this is where it gets really interesting. Okay? The motion is defective. It addresses a discovery motion which evidently has not been filed with this court and does not identify the discovery with which it takes issue, nor is the motion accompanied by a meet and confer declaration.
Oh, she's preemptively trying to block discovery.
No, she's more than that. She is engaging in lawfare.
Yeah.
She is putting forward motions that have to be analyzed and decided upon, or these women are putting forward motions that are completely spurious. So they're saying, I motion to stop the defendant or the plaintiff from doing this. The plaintiff hasn't done it. They're just doing it because they have the right to do it. This is lawfare. You get what I'm saying? It's like stuff that we dealt with the Mary Sue.
Yeah, no, they're trying. She's trying to preemptively prevent discovery of. She's basically saying he's going to ask for things that from me, information from me, and I'm going to argue that his potential future request for discovery is overbroad, and so I want you to deny it, just all discovery out of hand. He hadn't even issued a motion. He hadn't even filed for discovery.
Apparently not. According to the judge, he hadn't. So this was he hadn't applied for it. So basically, the judge said you're filing a protective order for something the defendant isn't even asking for. Right?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying that this is law. And here's where it gets even more interesting. After Vanessa's protective order was denied by the judge, Kelly Gibbons, the day that Vanessa's order was denied, Kelly Gibbons files the same order against the plaintiff.
Oh yeah, no, that's that Rabbi Shmuley lawyer. Sorry, I'm not anti-Semitic, but no, that's a lawyer. That's their lawyer who's.
Yeah, essentially what it looks like they're doing, and I could be wrong, what it looks like they're doing is they are chaining these spurious protection orders in order to extend the process, in order to delay any kind of decision or getting to the point of going to court. That's what they're doing.
No, they're not. They're not trying to delay. They're trying to block access to evidence.
Look, if they were trying to block access to evidence, Karen, they wouldn't be chaining it. This is the sequence as far as I understand. Vanessa Valdez files a motion for protective order to prevent discovery, right? She files the motion.
Okay, yeah. Okay, they know they're going to have to give it up, but they're trying to block access.
No. Listen, just listen to my analysis, then you can give yours. Vanessa Valdez files a motion to block, right?
And then it's denied, and then the next one does, and then the next one's going to, and then the next one's going to.
Yeah, why wouldn't they all file at once?
It's going to drag out.
They're going to drag it. That's the point. Yeah, so
it's going to drag out. It's going to drag out, and he's going to drain his freaking coffers.
Yeah, that's what they want to do. They want to drain his coffers. They're engaging in lawfare.
Okay, but even if they did it all at once, okay, and they all said we want to block his access to discovery, right? It would still be, it would be, I don't know, slightly less bad, but it would still be unlawful. Like, these bitches need to be smacked down.
Yeah.
By a judge, right?
It doesn't really speak to, let me get the.
It doesn't speak to the fact of presenting this in good faith is what I'm getting at.
No, they're not. They don't have clean hands. Oh my fucking God, who the fuck?
They don't have clean hands. If they're chaining their protective orders, it may not even be an issue of blocking. It may simply be an issue of we are going to extend this as long as possible so we can drain this man's resources, get rid of him. Because we've experienced that with our lawsuit against the Mary Sue in Calgary.
Jesus. Yeah, that was
a freaking night. It was a black hole nightmare. And you were saying, and it actually makes a lot of sense, that entire lawsuit came down to they violated consumer protection. Well, I allege they violated consumer protection in Canada. Mm-hmm. What happens when that happens? Well, according to the law, they did. What happens is you pay $750 and you move on. That's it. Mm-hmm. It's like a 20 minutes in and out. But it became this extended thing because if they had ruled in my favor, it may have given a precedent to start protecting citizens of Canada for their political speech.
There you go. Okay, I gotta go. I have to go for a minute. Okay. Because I have to phone my mother-in-law and tell her to stop calling.
Okay. Oh, jeez. All right. Well, we'll look forward to you coming back in a minute. I don't know if there's anything more we could say about this. It'll wait till the trial. So this is my opinion on this. This is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing that on their side, they don't look like they're acting in good faith. But again, it's just pattern recognition. I might be completely wrong. Let's keep an eye on it. Okay, yeah. Brian, do you want to start?
All right. Well, I got a super chow, and then maybe we can do some thank yous, and I'll try to go into the even Crowder thing. So Richard Bier gives us $5 and says, The clean hands should apply to the defendants too. If their claims don't have substance and are damaging, then it does undermine their credibility and status in the matter. Thank you, Richard. And I think that's it. So, do you have any thank yous to give?
One thank you to give. I want to thank Hyper Chicken for putting $100 through. Thank you, Hyper Chicken.
Thank you, Hyper Chicken.
You've bumped You've bumped us up to 70% on the fundraiser. So we are now at 70%. And now we have 1,795 left to go. So we can do this. I know we can. And thank you to everybody who's supported so far. Very generous. Great job doing it earlier in the month. Very much appreciated. We still do have a ways to go. And I don't know. I don't think this constitutes arm twisting, but please do help out. It really takes a load off my mind. Makes me feel like you know what we are doing matters to people, and they want to invest in it and make sure we can continue to do it. So feedthebadger.com/support. I guess you know, if I were to say something about all of this, there is a lot of resistance to the idea that we have to change this narrative about men oppressing women. Like, everything is coming out of that. When we exist in a society where we have that as the predominant narrative, the predominant way we frame the relationship between men and women, you know, we are seeing the fallout of that. Like, we're seeing it. We have basically destroyed in a large way our ability to pair bond, especially when it comes to people who don't meet each other through like mutual acquaintances. In our increasingly isolated and disconnected world, people meet each other through a medium that's very much like Twitter, and just sort of as angry as Twitter, you know, so that those large narratives become very important to whether or not people connect. Do you get what I'm saying, Brian?
Yeah.
Because and we have constructed this toxic narrative that's impeding the process of pair bonding. We are experiencing breeding colony collapse. That's what we're experiencing. And every single time in history, when a breeding colony collapses, it does the same thing. Inflation, right? Mass immigration, unrestricted immigration. So just unregulated immigration. That's the way to do it. That's the right word, right? It starts to embrace bizarre cults, religions, golden calf religions, right? And it also does the whole castration thing. It's like we're marching through all of those things because our breeding colony is collapsed. And the only way to really stop them all, because the politics that created them can't really stop it, and I mean that's all of the political landscape, is to restart the dying star, get the breeding colony to start turning over again and working again. And that means we have to question this overarching narrative of how men and women relate, that men oppress women, because that's what's destroying our ability to connect with each other, which then destroys our ability to form bonds, which then destroys our ability to form families, which then destroys our ability to be a productive and prosperous society. That's where it starts. And there's not a lot of people, as far as I know, there's almost nobody who says it like this, who explains it like this. And that is really critical to keep supporting and make sure that we can continue to do that. Because as you can see from the response to Crowder's divorce, conservatives, for the most part, like maybe there's male conservatives who aren't like this, but they will side with the woman and they will continue to blame men for the problems that they see in the world, that men simply have to man up more. Well, no. You cannot have a society if women have no interest in men, have no desire for men, and have no expectation of the virtues required to maintain a relationship. It just doesn't work. You know, you cannot tell men, well, okay, so the problem is men oppress women. Okay, men's authority is terrible for women. So if men have an opinion or they want something, that's oppression of women. If men think that they are able to give something to women, then they're actually manipulating women to need them, which is oppression of women, which is bad. Well, how are men supposed to bring something to the table, because women are the table, when they aren't providing for women's needs. And then the instant they provide for women's needs, what are they doing? They're oppressing them by making them need them. So we have this entire mess around the very act of forming relationships. We've constructed a narrative that destroys the formation of relationships. There's nothing that men can do to change that or to really face it, except, you know, I mean, there is things that they can do. They can question all of this and start to build in themselves the boundaries against these narratives. So of course that's really important to do, but it's really hard to blame men for this overwhelming social message that men are terrible and say, well, you got to overcome that. Well, how? How are men supposed to have the social credit of an entire society? Like one individual man going up to one individual woman, how is he supposed to negate the message of all society that he is a net detriment to her? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we have to stop this message. We can't just keep saying, well, man up. Yeah, there's a limit.
Exactly.
There is a limit. Right? And man up and prove your worth, even while we're telling you that you're worthless. And this is the thing that I see about conservatives. I'm gonna bash on them for a bit.
I know.
Men, brace yourselves. What conservatives like about men is the benefits that men's existence and virtues provide. They do not seem to care about men themselves. So the way that I would liken that is conservatives are like the people who with the golden goose, right? They like the golden egg. They don't give a fuck about the goose, right? The problem is we now have feminists who basically say that, well, yeah, these golden eggs are great, but they don't come from the goose. The goose is worthless, right? And the conservatives don't, you know, they agree. The goose is worthless, but, you know, he's worth something because he gives, you know, he himself is worth nothing, but the golden eggs that he provides are worth something. But how does that counter? Well, no, actually, the goose is worthless because they're saying, yes, but, yeah, but he gives us the golden eggs. But no, but he is worthless, you know, in and of himself, the goose is absolutely worthless, but the eggs are valuable. This is what the conservatives have to say to feminists saying the goose is worthless. And they're failing because they can't actually argue the point that the goose is worth something. He does provide value in and of himself. He is valuable because not just because he creates golden eggs, but because he has the potential of doing so. If you get what I'm saying, like men uniquely provide these things. They are uniquely able to provide this stuff. Women cannot provide this stuff. And we can't even recognize that. Conservatives aren't even willing to recognize that. That just a man sitting there by himself is valuable because he has the potential that women do not have. He has something unique he brings to the world that women do not. They're not willing to stand behind that and say to feminists, no, the goose has value in and of himself. Or sorry, the gander has value in and of himself. I was screwing that up, wasn't I? Oh yeah, ganders don't lay eggs. Shit, my freaking analogy is kind of crap. Okay,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Anyway, my point is that conservatives like the benefits from men, but you're not going to get those benefits if you don't protect men. And what men need protection from is this narrative that they are harmful to society and women. And that narrative is causing what we're seeing right now, which is the breakdown of our ability to form Paris bonds, of our ability to form families, and ultimately the breakdown of the entire breeding colony and all of the mess that results from that. Okay, and if we don't address that problem, we're not getting anywhere fast. All right, there you go. Sorry about the analogy, it broke down.
All right, it's fine.
Are you back, Karen? No,
not yet. It looks like.
Do you want to watch this the issue with Crowder or the video?
Well, I don't think I need to play that video. I am displaying it. So, it's not necessary. I just wanted to give a little bit of backstory. So
give us a summary. What is in the
I'll
video?
give you some backstory. So, Steven Crowder is a former, like, he was a Canadian and he moved to America, and he's a I guess he would call himself a conservative political commentator, comedian, and media personality. He had his own show on YouTube, he still does, called Louder with Crowder. And it was basically like, he wanted to do a comedy show. He wanted to work on Fox and do sort of like a talk show type of thing, but he didn't care for the format, and he ended up leaving Fox News, or Fox, the station or the studio, to do his own thing on YouTube. And he grew a little piece of the internet, right, all his own. He has a pretty big platform, and I've been watching him for a number of years because I like the quality of his format, and I always said, well, man, if we had a show like this, or close to it, we'd be doing really well. So I sort of like look at the people who are doing stuff as like the thing I model it on. And one of the things that I thought, and this is important stuff that I have to set up. So he was the only person on the internet that at the time that spoke to people like Karen with a platform the size that he had. Karen was a recurring guest on there. She'd been there a few times. When Cassie J was making her film The Red Pill, he had her on when like no one else, either everybody else would ignore her, they didn't know about what she was doing, or they were openly hostile towards her. And he was one of the people who was like had her on his show and talked to Cassie J. So for that, I am eternally grateful, because Cassie J's movie made a massive impact, I think, that we can't really measure easily. And Steven Crowder, like, magnifying that, just like he did by talking to Karen, is huge, right? And, but there was always this thing where, for a long time, where he would occasionally talk about men's rights activists. And I don't know if it was because he didn't know Karen was one or what, but he was often dismissive, or at least he would say, yeah, they make some good points, but they're whiny or whatever. Kind of like what Joe Rogan does. And then one day he did an announcement that he was in the midst of a divorce with his wife, or his ex-wife, Hillary Crowder. Hillary Crowder had no online presence, or as far as we know, she was basically like, just somebody that was his wife that we never knew who she was. We didn't even know her name for at least a while. Okay. And there were 2 kids in this. He had twins. And Steven Crowder, like Allison said before, he prided himself on saving himself for the one, so that he would like be sure that it was going to work, and he was going to get married. He was going to have kids with this person, and he was totally fine with that. And he still ended up going through a messy divorce. While this was going on, I'm not sure about the timing on this, but while this was going on, I think this might be relevant, which is why I'm bringing it up. He was in a bit of a let's say a kerfuffle between his show Louder with Crowder and the Daily Wire. The Daily Wire was trying to set up a thing where they would work together, but they had creative differences, and this turned into a big thing where, for people who used to work with Crowder, they left his show under questionable circumstances. He had a falling out with all the folks at Daily Wire. I don't know what it was about, but basically what happened after that is why this is relevant. So we knew he was going through a divorce. We knew that he, like, after COVID stuff, he had to relocate his studio. He left California. He went to Texas, I think. That was probably like, with babies and everything, just kind of like a big old stressful event. And then he had this falling out with the Daily Wire. And then some people quit his company. So he had this producer / co-host guy named Not Gay Jared was his name on the show. His name is Jared Monroe. And he also had a co-host named Dave Landau, and that was also a comedian. And they both left him, sort of unceremoniously, I guess. And then later we had this thing where Candace Owens, who worked at the Daily Wire, she released a video, which is the thing that I'm showing right here. Essentially, it sounded like she was trying to craft a narrative about Crowder's behavior to his wife, Hillary. But from what I'm understanding, Hillary is the one who reached out to Candace Owens, and this was after the Daily Wire split, okay? And I think this is important because there's like the divorce angle and the family angle and the family court stuff, and then there seems to be potentially another angle, which is sort of like, you know, like there are people that get in on this kind of reputation destruction because of these other differences on the business side, right? So I mean, think about it. If you because there was a thing that hurt the reputation of the Daily Wire as well, that was a consequence of the split between Crowder and the Daily Wire, which I think it was a thing that never started, but the point is that that was a part of it. And Candace Owens comes out with this this camera footage, and in the footage there's an argument between Stephen and his wife, who was very pregnant. So this is while she was pregnant and not when she had her kids yet. So it's kind of.
Can we just watch it? Can we just watch it?
You want me to play it? I can play it.
Yeah, sure.
I'll just play the whole thing then. Okay.
I drew a boundary. I drew a boundary. No, you just did it. I drew a boundary of abusive and cruel. You were not taking the car. Because if you refuse to do wifely things, then I will go pick up the groceries.
There's no groceries. I'd be happy.
Steaks, wood pellets, my grill. I know it's an unreasonable request, but I'll go do it. How about you first? Hillary, how do you respect the man? Yes. How do you man respect? How do you man receive love and respect? No. How do you man respect? No, you're not taking the car.
Stephen,
you're not taking the car.
Stephen,
you are not.
Then I will ask someone to pick me up. Would you like me to ask?
Oh, that's right.
It's not correct, Stephen.
Get an Uber.
Okay, Stephen, I can't.
Feeling some constraints?
Stephen.
Like, I can't go. Listen to me. You want to walk out right now? Listen to me. I can't go to the gym. I can't go to my parents. I can't call my friends. I can't be home. You're going to take the car and leave me here. Hillary, just think of how boxed in you've made me.
What do you need me to pick up? I'll get it. I'll be back when I'm back.
No, that doesn't work either. You'll be back when you're back. That doesn't work either. Do you understand the difference between my life being set to the second and you going, I'll be back when I'm back?
Stephen.
Yeah, there's something more behind this.
The only way out of this is discipline and respect. It's the only way out of it, or we're at an impasse.
We are at an impasse.
Good. Because you can't have any discipline or respect.
Yeah.
There you go. You throw your hand, you give up so easily.
I don't give up so easily.
Oh my God, this is like one of the most cordial arguments I've ever seen.
Discipline and respect. You said, then we're at an impasse.
Stephen, no, we are at an impasse, okay? I love you, but Stephen, your abuse is sick. Your abuse.
Watch it.
Wait.
Watch it.
Okay, wait. Let's just a second here. All right. So what I'm getting is that she's taking the car, and she's basically leaving him without the ability to go anywhere. And
yeah, he's concerned that he's got because he's running on a tight schedule. I know that one of the things that some of the people who left him, Dave Landau, complained that they were just like on going, right? But I think if he's this kind of person, that's sort of like doesn't make him a bad person. It just means he has this character trait, right? Mm-hmm. And
but
yeah, so
something that I clued in on when I was watching this, and I don't know if this has been addressed, maybe you have heard it, is he basically said, he alluded to something that was controlling, that he has to be by the second. So he has to account for his seconds while she gets to say, I'll be back sometime. So I don't know what's behind that. I would like to know, because I don't think I've heard that mentioned. To me, it sounds like she's expecting him to abide by her schedule, but not the reverse. Do you get what I'm saying? And
yeah, I get what you're saying.
More at that moment, I'm like, I need to know more information about what's going on there before I make a judgment. And I'm like, first of all, and we have about maybe 70 seconds left.
Yeah, you want me to play the rest of it?
Well, I do want to say one other thing. Holy shit, I hope that my arguments with my husband never get leaked to the internet, because believe me, they are not this cordial. And
yeah, I know.
I know that she's making this, she's making these claims of abuse, but on here, I'm not really seeing anything. I'm seeing an argument. Yeah, and
yeah, it's an argument. She is claiming abuse, but let's play the rest of it.
When he says you aren't doing wifely things, and then I'll go do them myself. I don't know what preceded that. So okay, let's.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? That's the thing that's a little bit fishy. But let's play the rest of it.
And watch it.
I'm gonna let go. I'll get what you need me to get. And I need some space. We need you to stop engaging for a little bit. Okay? I love you. I love you very much.
I don't love you. That's the big problem. I've never received love from you. And the fact is, when I go, look, I need you to do A, B, C, and D, you just be disciplined about it. You go, no. But I love you more than life itself. Okay. Put on some gloves. No. But I love you more than life itself. That's not fair. That's not fair, and it's disingenuous. Hillary, you're right then, Tess. Become someone, listen to me, day in and day out, worthy of a wife. No, not as a wife. I didn't say as a wife. Hillary, come on now.
I'm not going to engage. I'm not going to engage anymore. I'm going to go. I'll text me what you need. I'll get you what you need. I love you. I'm committed to you.
Put on some gloves. Are you committed enough to do those things?
I'm not going to.
Are you committed enough to do those things? You're not committed to anything. You're not committed to anything. You just said I love you. I'm committed to it. Walk the dogs. Put on some gloves. Walk the dogs. Put on some gloves. Are you committed enough to do those things? Are you committed enough to do those things? Are you committed enough to do those things?
I'm gonna just
walk the dogs. Put on some gloves. Are you committed enough to get the medication the dogs take? No, you take Betty.
Nope. All right, now it says, we don't hear this part, but it says, as the Crowders head inside, Stephen gets angrier and angrier, and by his own admission screams, "I will fuck you up," at his pregnant wife Hillary, who then flees their home. So you get the, and so we have this clip, 3.5 minutes long. I think there's no, the thing is that this is like a Ring camera. These things are on 24/7.
Yes.
I mean,
I read that everything else was deleted by his wife.
Yes.
So this is the most condemning thing that they have. So everything else that brought them to this point is condemning. And what's interesting to me is she gets what she wants at the end. Like they're framing it as she flees the house, but she's been, I'm going to take the car and leave. And he's like, could you do these chores? And she's like, yeah, I'll do this stuff. And he's like, but you're leaving me in a lurch. You're boxing me in because I won't have the car to be able to do the things that I need to do. And she's just like, she just goes, I love you. And then she does the I'm put upon voice. But at the end of the day, she got what she wanted. She got the car and she left. And she was using I love you as a means to stonewall. That's my analysis of the situation. Like, I don't know anything else that's going on, but I need to know more.
Well, okay, so we don't have it. So
because
yeah, go ahead.
It's a flawed analysis because I don't know what happened after, and I only have
before.
The word of this caption of I only have the word of this caption after, and I don't know what happened before. But
yeah.
I will like to point out that if this is abuse, then me and my husband have killed each other 30 billion times since
Okay, you know what I used to do when my kids were getting slightly annoying? Can you go, honey? Because everybody can hear you talking to your mother now. I used to say, I will rip your fucking arm off and beat you with it.
Yeah,
and
shut up, kid.
Beat you with it. Yeah, no, and they would be like, okay, that's our cue to tone it down a little, be a little less noisy, be a little less obnoxious. Okay, yeah, no. The only time one of my kids was actually really scared of me was when he turned my computer off before autosave on Word. Right? So I had just written 12,000 words that made me bawl my eyes out. Right? 12,000 words of fiction that had made me... You shut up. I'm on the radio. I'll fucking kill you. I'll rip your arm off and beat you with it.
Will you fuck him up?
I will fuck you up. I'll fucking murder you. $500,000, honey. That's how much your life insurance is worth. Anyway, he's talking to his mom and he's telling me to be quiet. But anyway, like the one time, and so I just gotten done writing like 12,000 words, right? 12,000 words, hadn't hit save yet. I was like emotionally exhausted. I just killed off two of my favorite characters, in the most romantic and tragic way possible. Oh my God, they were anti-heroes and they were so in love with each other, and it was just such a tragedy. And you know, he would have died avenging her, but he didn't. He was taken captive, and then some other noble woman came in and like put him out of his misery before he could be tortured. And it was just like, oh God. And I was just like, I was exhausted. I was emotionally exhausted. I'd spent like 5 hours writing this. And my youngest, in a diaper, comes toddling up and turns my computer off.
I would not blame you if you had dumped him in a.
And I just looked at him. I once I realized what had happened and that I lost 12,000 words. Right. And my face is like soaking wet. I looked at him and I said, right in the eye, and I said, "You will never do that again." And that was the only time he was ever scared of me.
So I got like 15 minutes max, because then I got to pick Lindsay up. So it's 6 o'clock now here.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So I'm gonna try and like sort of get to the rest of this. So this was later discovered that this was in fact the most damning like part of the video that was like used, right? But Candace Owens was 100% behind it. She was like, he's a monster, he is abusive, look at how pregnant she is, look at how she's talking. But then again, you know, some people think that, well, I got this super chat, I'll read it out really quick. Zaranx gives us $5. Thank you, Zaranx. And he says, if you listen to Hillary in the video, you can hear the clues that might have you think she had been planning this interaction to have this video. That whole, I love you, you're abusive, or whatever it was, clued me in that she knew what she was saying. Affirmation of her is as the dutiful wife and Stephen being the unreasonable individual. Then the fact that the video that should not last beyond a few months survived over a year to be released to the public. Yes, because this was while she was still pregnant with twins, and those twins they're over like a year old. They might even be 2 years old by now. So this is like significantly later. She never filed any reports. She didn't go to police. She didn't do anything, but everyone just bought into this, right?
It's
and then comes
possible that both parties were unreasonable.
It's possible.
I can guarantee you, right, that if I was pregnant, heavily pregnant with twins, I'd be really fucking cranky.
Yeah, sure.
Right? And I would expect my partner to give me all kinds of freaking leeway to be like as bitchy and abusive and like nasty, just like you witnessed here just today. You know, when my husband is like, will you shut up? You're interrupting my phone call with my mom. And it's like, go to another room,
well,
retard.
So,
right?
Yeah. So so Candace puts out this thing, and it's like this big thing. And then Steven Crowder, I forgot what he said, but he put out a statement about it. And, you know, but it doesn't matter. He addressed it. I just can't remember the details. It wasn't really anything mind blowing. Everyone on the internet was on Crowder's ass. So like, this is what I'm saying. Like, this isn't a conservative liberal thing. This is a woman thing, and it's a gynocentric woman thing, because the supposed conservative women from Candace Owens to Sydney Watson to Lauren Chen to fucking Lauren Southern, the mask falls and they're all team woman and they're all against him and they don't care about the context. Nothing else matters. He was mean pants. And the only woman that was actually on his side was Pearl. And she had been like, she thought the whole thing was fishy from the get-go. She was like, you know, why do we only have this one little clip? Why is it coming out now? Why did she never file any reports? Why didn't she go to police? Like,
are you exempting us from that too? Because I'm pretty sure we also were like,
Well, I addressed it, but I don't think we did like a full thing on it. And I'm sure we would have. I'm not saying we wouldn't have. I'm just saying that she was the only one that was vocally talking about it.
It's because you don't know, and you don't know.
Well, we didn't know. Yes.
Know what followed from it, and it's like, okay, well, she was being a whiner and he was being a dick, and okay, people are whiners and people are dicks, and
well, what's interesting to me is ultimately who won the encounter. She did. Yeah. She won that encounter. She got.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Like this
and
in a month.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was gonna say. So then, like,
I'm talking about the divorce. Let me finish. I'm not talking about the divorce. I'm talking about the encounter we just watched in this video. She wanted to take the car.
Yeah.
He didn't want her to take the car because he needed it for whatever reason, and she took the car. In the end of the day, she took the car. That is not the actions of somebody who's subordinate in the relationship. And what I heard, and yes, he was being really red pilly and like overbearing. He wasn't doing it in a very charming way.
He was being a dick, yeah.
He was being a bit of a dick, but he was trying to tell her that she needs to step up more. That's what I was getting from that. That he was upset because he felt like too much was put on him. Okay? That is a perfectly legitimate way of saying. Now, guys don't say it like that. And I know that this is something that we could really improve our relationships, men and women, by getting away from strategies and going towards understanding. But nobody wants to do that because there's money in understanding and pain. But anyway, he approached this in a way that is only going to make it worse. 100%. I agree with that. He should or could have done something of explaining how stressed he is, the emotional situation she's putting him in. Sort of bring it to her level. Men don't like to do that. They like to appeal to things like hierarchy, to principle, to your wifely duties, to, I don't know, this relationship with God, to the 10 commandments, whatever else. That's the way men talk. They don't say, hey, dear, I'm overwhelmed. I need you to step up.
Yeah,
and women understand that. And then part of it is also because
stick your finger
if you get the wrong woman, any indication that you are overwhelmed or you're vulnerable, and she's out the door and on the nearest cock within 30 seconds.
Well, the other thing is too is that like in all likelihood they've had many arguments in the past, and none of them were as bad, and I put that in quotes, as this one, because otherwise we'd know about it. So like this, if this is like him, probably like at his worst, right? But again, that's like that whole thing, like we don't know, so we can't really like
comment,
say anything definitive. But
I'm just gonna say I once threatened to kill my husband right in front of a bank representative.
Yeah.
Okay. And I will tell you this, like me and Jonathan get in periodic screaming matches with each other. And the dog just gets off the couch and he goes into the other room, and I feel bad because I'm like, are we traumatizing the dog? But we're it's much more animated than this, much more.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then you go through, you get in that.
I just had one with my husband.
You get in that headspace where everything goes, and you're like, I'm gonna get a divorce, and you blah blah blah. And it's like, and you get it out of your system. 10 minutes later, you're fine.
Yeah, my mom used to like stomp around and threaten to divorce my dad, and my dad would like look at me and my kids, and he'd like put his hands together in prayer and look up at God and say, "Please let her mean it this time." Yeah, and
and it's like this generation. I had the talking stick. No offense. This generation, do you just be a little bit more forgiving? I think you would get a lot further. Because I think Crowder's like, 10, 15 years younger than us?
Yeah, just be a little tougher. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, don't be porcelain. I mean, there is a point at which things become abuse, yes. But this is not it. This is a disagreement. And she was really freaking annoying the crap out of me with that huffing and that, I'm such a martyr. It's like, oh yeah, but you got your way at the end. So I think that says a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yet that's the clip that gets released, right? So then it's quiet for a bit, and this is the most recent development is one of Crowder's former employees, Jared Monroe, also known as Not Gay Jared.
Oh, Jared, Not Gay Jared, yeah.
Not Gay Jared. He comes out with this like free Jared Monroe thing. It's like a 15-minute video. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'll just show you what it looks like. Where he talks about how Steven Crowder was very litigious with him and did an NDA and he can't talk about stuff and he's like worried about his family or whatever, but we don't really know the details of this.
Well, there's an
but
NDA,
this,
that's why.
Yeah, but this is like, this is a pretense to further sort of like, you know, I guess you could say attack Crowder through, you know, this like another, it's like a, I don't want to say it's a sob story because I don't know if it's true. The truth is like this NDA thing is a completely different animal, okay? Like there are people who have left Louder Crowder and they didn't have a great experience. Dave Landau, I guess Jared Monroe. But then there are people who left and they did not have any complaints, like Porter Black Garrett, who said, look, I just didn't want to do politics anymore. I still get along with those guys. I like them. And then you got like Owen Benjamin, who, you know, dislikes Crowder as a person, but defended him in this particular case. Because what Pearl revealed and what had revealed was that Jared, there's like texts or conversations where Jared says, we have to get him away from those kids. So apparently Crowder wants custody of the children and in this divorce, and Jared is helping his ex-wife get the kids. And Pearl is like, what the hell does that have to do with anything? And so so I wanted to like show Pearl's comments on this because they're like the among the very few that are at least again, I'm not taking a side in this. I'm not taking a side in this, but I think that because I do think that what would be best is for Crowder to like, you know, lift the NDA. Let's hear what Jared is not supposed to say. I don't know, but Jared did choose to sign it, and so you know, there is that, but that's a different animal. But like using that to say that this, you know, that he, and then getting like this guy involved with, you know, taking the kids away, that is kind of crazy. And on top of that, Tim Pool, let me see if I can find the thing here. Tim Pool said that Crowder is effectively paying for his ex's legal fees because he's paying 25 grand in what
child
is it?
Support. Child support, yeah. Alimony and child support,
I'm just trying to find it.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, alimony and child support. He's paying 20.
Yeah. Alimony and child support.
When a woman
a month, 25 grand a month.
You know, the new story is how when women become homemakers, they become destitute because the courts don't award them money. Well, here's your counterexample, friends. 25 grand. You know, and the funny thing is that women will, or a lot of women will turn around and talk about the wage gap. Well, here we see an example of why it exists.
Yeah,
25 grand in child support and alimony.
Okay, I don't necessarily disagree with this. Okay, this is what I got into with people in the past, right? When they like want to talk about, you know, Kobe Bryant or, you know, Tiger Woods or whatever, right? These like insane divorce settlements, right? With these extremely, and you have, you know, all these conservative people who are like, that's insane, right? And it's like, yeah, no, I don't care about those guys because they can afford it. I don't care about them.
You care
right?
about the little guy.
I care about the little guy. I care about the fry cook, right?
He has to pay like $2,500 a month.
$700 a month in child support while he's earning $2,000 a month in income, right?
Yeah.
And he's paying $700 out of his gross income, right?
Not even after taxes.
Not even after taxes, and she's not paying a freaking dime in taxes on that income, right? Okay, so that's who I'm worried about. Now, and I can understand the idea of family maintenance, the whole idea of equalizing the incomes, because if you have one rich parent and one poor parent, and the children are in the custody of the poorer but more fit parent, and then the wealthier unfit parent, he gets to show them a good time, and he buys them all kinds of things, and he gives them all kinds of perks and all of that stuff. My sister had to go through this, and she's not poor by any means, but she's less poor than her ex, and like she wasn't able to take their daughter to Paris, France.
Ryan really wants to
all this shit, right? Like, so you want to equalize the incomes, right? Okay, I can get that. But yeah, no, the idea that this woman is like undergoing any kind of hardship right now is stupid.
Yeah.
Well,
okay, Brian, go for what you wanted to
Yeah,
do.
so Pearl was trying to use this opportunity like as an opportunity to talk about something broader, which is what I wanted to do. Like I said, what's going on with Crowder's specific situation, I can't speak to it. I don't know enough about it. He may very well be guilty of everything that his ex-wife is claiming. It's possible, right? All of this, it's possible.
I've seen.
No, I know the evidence isn't strong, but what I'm saying is that like if we get caught up in trying to prove or disprove any of that, then we're losing the broader picture here, which is that marriage for men, it's dangerous no matter what, right? And that this is something that people in general have to come to terms with, and a lot of this has to do with the way women act when one of the sisters are in trouble, right? So I like Candace Owens on a lot of stuff. I do, honestly. I like that she stands for stuff, but she is still a woman. And when like this whole thing broke, she immediately saw that video and was like, he's a monster. I'm going to run with this. And Pearl, she actually references in one of her responses, the book, How to Destroy a Man. And this is the thing, like if Hillary Crowder was thinking about getting a divorce, even if maybe she was unhappy for whatever reason, doesn't matter, and she decided to like counsel someone, maybe she was seeing a therapist, maybe she was doing marriage counseling, I have no idea. But if she like came across a lawyer that works in the family courts, that's what these guys do. These lawyers, they will like give you they'll tell you, look, you can take all of his shit, you can take his kids, all you got to do is like do this or that, right? And I've seen it.
Yeah.
And we know we've had people on the show that have talked about the predatory nature of divorce courts and what they are there to essentially do this. And there are rules and there are books. They're just like, this isn't hidden. This is out in the open, right? So if this creates an incentive, then this creates an incentive in women to just say, well, you know what? I could work on the marriage. I could, honor the vows and do my best. Or I could just use this system that's in place. Hell, he'll be paying for my legal fees because I'll have him giving me money, right? Yeah. And so Pearl talks about this, and there's a couple of her tweets that I thought were pretty decent. Crafting allegations. Keep in mind that the allegations you craft for the damn online method will be presented as listings on internet search engine results pages. The results you see when you search for something via Google or Bing, for example. No, this is not the right thing. She's talking about like how
Okay, can I just get in here for a sec? I want to point out something. That video that I saw is sort of reminiscent of, you remember the video that went the rounds with Amber Heard and Johnny Depp?
Yeah. Oh yeah, sure.
There's a lot of people who hate Crowder politically, right?
They do. Well, even people on his... That's what I'm saying. The Daily Wire don't like him. That's what I'm saying. Even people on his side.
The conservatives, no offense, the conservatives now have an invested interest to make it his fault, because then they can defend the whole process and say, there's nothing that we need to fix about this situation. We just need to tell men to man up more, because obviously Crowder didn't man up enough to prevent his relationship from imploding. And again, this is 3 minutes out of context. There's probably hours and hours and hours of footage that didn't make the cut. So this is the highlight reel of how awful Steve Crowder is. Steve Crowder's "How Awful I Am" highlight reel doesn't even make like the B-roll in my life. Seriously.
It didn't even make the B-roll of like me just screaming at my husband on air just recently.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
Like minutes ago.
We have now, Karen has now abused her husband well more than Crowder abused his wife. This is the highlight reel of the abusive Crowder season, or like a narrative. Like I said, it sort of reminds me of Amber Heard getting her own little highlight reel of how abusive Johnny Depp is. And again, everybody was like, oh, he's slamming, he's so threatening. And yet when you look at that and you look at it in context, he's upset with her and just in general because her general behavior is
she
really
did poop
nasty.
on his bed.
Yeah, but what's really upsetting him is his mother has died. He's learned that a bunch of people have stolen from him. We don't know the context of this. We don't know how much frustration, maybe Crowder. God, that name is really bad for my speech impediments.
Crowder.
We don't know how much frustration has been built up with his wife.
We don't know.
We don't know.
Well, I'm telling you that it was stressful leading up to that moment because again, he was in California doing his shows.
Oh.
Then we had COVID and we had lockdowns. Yeah. He had to relocate. Yeah. We had the Summer of Love. And then he was getting demonetized on YouTube and remonetized and demonetized again. So there were all kinds of problems. I could see how he was under a tremendous amount of stress. I mean, I think it's obvious. Yeah. I'm not simping for him. I'm telling you, you can see the timing of everything. And when you take all of that and the fact that he just started a new family, 2 kids on the way, twins. I mean, it's stressful, right? So, I will say that.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Well, I was just gonna say there's a lot of stuff I disagree with Pearl about her approach. I think that she's maybe making needless hostility, but I appreciate the fact that she sticks up for men.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, no one else is gonna do it. I mean, other than us.
Exactly.
There aren't many people who are gonna do it. And I appreciate that. Go ahead.
I like Pearl. I don't think she's perfect, but I do like her. I don't think Steven Crowder is perfect. I do like him. There are certain people who over the last couple of years have made me rethink, whether I like them or not, right? But yeah, no. Pearl's generally pretty.
I think I like Pearl because I think she's
everything that
she seems from her. Authentic, at least.
Well,
even if she's imperfect.
Not be she's not perfect, but she's also not displaying her cleavage and then telling people, I really don't like being objectified.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think the way what I would sort of say I disagree with, because I always bring up how this situation isn't great for women, and and there's other stuff that I would bring up about the women, the more female point of view, that I hope would be giving more context for everything that's happening, and I don't think she doesn't have to be interested in that, because there does need to be somebody out there who's just goes ham for defending men, protecting men, being on men's side. And sometimes she doesn't do that, I admit, too. There's some places where apparently she's been skeptical about men who've expressed concern, being sexually abused. Although there might be a context that just a holdover from all of the things that sexual abuse has suddenly consumed, has become a huge thing. Maybe she's concerned about that. But it's good that she kept the skepticism on the claims against Crowder. That's a good thing. Somebody needs to. Anyway, is there anything further, Brian?
Well, I just want to read a couple of people's tweets about this, so we have a sense
Sorry,
of
Karen, but Brian's got to go, so.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Don't apologize to me. I'm desperate to leave.
So, okay, so Richard Cooper tweeted, Steven Crowder is trending due to his divorce. I don't give a fuck about drama between them. That's how I feel. But when the dust settles, watch how bad Crowder gets fucked in family law. Tradcon women are no different. Give a woman incentive to leverage family law for financial gain, and they will use it. Sean Fitzgerald, also known as Actual Justice Warrior, says, Crowder seems happy here with his lawyer. I'm curious if they settled the case through mediation. If so, I look forward to Steven revealing how much greedy Hillary, which he puts in quotes, took from him. Since they were pretending the $25K a month is not for lawyers, I'm assuming it's way more, right? Then we have Mike Cernovich, who says, if you think Crowder's divorce is messy, go intern at a wills and trust law office for a week and watch adult children destroy everything over a house nobody wants to live in and isn't even worth anything to sell. Alexander Oaks says, to the people defending Crowder, which is more likely, not actually, more people are defending Hillary than Crowder that I've seen, that Steven Crowder is a piece of shit, or that Sven Computer, Dave Landau, Quarter Black Garrett, Not Gay Jared, and all of Crowder's longtime friends at the Daily Wire, his wife, old friend Owen Benjamin, and Candace Owens are all just liars and sociopaths. But the truth is that Quarter Black Garrett and Owen Benjamin have come out in his defense. And Owen Benjamin doesn't like him, but he stands on principle and says you shouldn't come after somebody's kids. So, which I have to admire. Tim Poole said that he sides with Crowder on this. He said Crowder has to pay $25,000 in child support that his ex-wife uses to pay lawyers to go after him. He has to fund his own destruction. How fucked is U.S. divorce court? Okay, that was him retweeting Gerald A. He got community noted for this, but I don't know if that means that it's untrue or what. I don't know what that means, but I'm not going to ignore it. And then there was one by Pearl that I thought was pretty good. Well, Tim Poole. So Lawrence Southern, right? Lawrence Southern says, yes, he's launched extraordinary litigious lawsuits against her and family that she cannot afford because she quit her job to be a stay-at-home mother. They actually have a nanny, though, so I don't know if that matters, but it's not like she was doing a lot of work. He also then went for full custody of the kids, but thankfully she was awarded some funds to prevent herself from becoming homeless and having her children taken. If you understood how much she's spending on lawyers, you'd know she's spending every cent of that defending herself. Should stay-at-home wives be able to have their children taken from them and left homeless if their husband is extremely wealthy? Or should they be given a sliver of money of their husband spending husband is spending on lawyers to defend themselves? So, all of this
would be erased if we just had automatic presumption of joint custody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like shared custody.
Shared custody, and kids would cease to be a bargaining chip in relationships. And but like that. Let's not, honestly, all of this fight would go away if we had that. But nobody.
Anthony Brian Logan, who is another commentator, says Steven Crowder's paying his estranged wife $20,000 a month in support during the divorce is predictable. Traditional conservative guys with money who want their wife to stay at home will go through the same thing when the divorce happens, which it will 50% of the time.
Okay, I wanted to say that this
ABL is I'm subscribed to him, and
yeah,
and you should be too.
The amount
I like ABL too.
The amount that she's receiving is probably like a provisional support. Like it's just an order in the interim, right? Is that not a thing?
I don't know. I don't know the details of this, so I don't want to speak.
No, probably they haven't had their entire divorce settlement. This is just an interim order, I'm sure.
So Pearl made a tweet. Pearl made a tweet saying, "You guys are not going to understand till later." This was earlier. But I will bet money this is orchestrated by the ex-wife. There are details missing. Why was he sent the original case and cease and desist? Now he is asking for donations. Something is not adding up. And that was in response to Jared Monroe's thing where he came forward, right? And then Sydney Watson also replies to Pearl and says, "Pearl, what?
What is the overall conclusion? Like, honestly, this is all Twitter drama. What is your?
No, I know, but what I get that, Allison. I'm just saying that we're seeing Team Woman. That's what I'm saying. Like Sydney Watson, Lauren Southern, Lauren Chen, they're Candace Owens. These are supposedly trad women, but they become feminists. When the fucking rubber hits the road, they become feminists.
Brian, they are not feminists. They are traditional women.
Okay.
Yes, the man exists to protect and provide for the woman.
Alimony is not an invention of feminists. It's existed since biblical times. You leave your wife, you divorce your wife, right? If you divorce her without cause, if you were the cause of the divorce, right? You get to pay for her for the rest of your life in the manner to which she has become accustomed. And that's that.
That's a conservative position.
It's super conservative. It's super traditional.
The idea that men exist to provide and protect
to support women
and have no value outside of that, even as fathers, even as being involved in their children's lives. That is a conservative position. And in fact, conservative states are worse for custody for men.
Rick Scott and
interestingly, they're worse.
I'm generally Republican, but Rick Scott, who was governor of Florida until he ended up in the Senate as a senator for Florida, right? 2 times he vetoed lifetime alimony reform, right? Bills that had 70 to 80% popular support, right, in the state, and had passed both houses and landed on his desk, right, as governor of Florida. And he said, no, it's too soon to end lifetime alimony. He's a Republican conservative, and you know who convinced him to do that? You know who pushed him over the edge, just gave him that little nudge? Yeah, the National Organization for Women, feminists, right? Yeah. They get in bed with each other all the fucking time. Yeah. As long as you're on Team Woman, you can't lose.
Yep. And then they force the funny thing is they've forced people to make this is something that occurred to me when I was on Twitter once. Yes, I also go on Twitter and engage in drama. Brian, I am guilty of the same sin. So there you go.
Whatever.
Yeah, but my point is that I was going on and I was like, everybody gets on my case about choosing a side. When who created the sides in the first place? Who created this idea of team man and team woman and forced everyone to choose team woman? Okay? We need to get rid of that mentality entirely. There is no team man. There is no team woman. There is only team failure, right? And everybody now who doesn't recognize that is on team failure, and they are riding the collapse of everything because of it. There is no team woman, there is no team man, because we both have to work together to construct a society that is functional, right? And that means that team woman needs to stop, because that's what we're seeing. We are seeing women who are insisting on there being a team woman, right? And that we cannot look at the situation for men. Well, that means you are forcing the conflict and you are making it worse. And honestly, you're right. If you're on team woman, you win. We've experienced that with Honey Badger Radio. We get throttled. We are not on team woman. We're not necessarily on team man. I personally am not on team man. I'm on team. We need to
on team civilization.
Get working together again. Yeah, team civilization. Team, we're watching our breeding colony collapse. We need to stop this. We need to start understanding each other, start bringing the romance back in, start pair bonding, start, igniting this dying star. But this is people who insist that there is a conflict and insist that you be on one side or the other. It's interesting to me to suddenly see the rise of people who are on team man, like Pearl, and I'm like, maybe that's necessary. Maybe my final thought on Pearl is she is necessary.
Oh, yeah.
Because she is a necessary addition to the conversation, because there needs to be a balance, but there also needs to be somebody saying, hey, we need to understand each other. We need to deal with the fact that our breeding colony is collapsing and fix it. Not just be on team woman, not just play these political games. Anyway, Brian, you really have to go.
I'm gonna wrap it up because I gotta go pick up
Yeah,
Lindsay.
wrap it
I
up.
just called her and told her I'm running late. But
I'll give you a final word though. Say whatever.
yeah,
it is you need to say.
Pearl put out. I got a couple super chows, but Pearl put out this tweet, and one of the people who sent a super chow was making reference to it. So Nova fan gave us $5 and says, what shows a lot of perspective is when Pearl calls out the destruction of the family court, yet Tradcucks still cling on to the delusion by describing Pearl's stance as anti-marriage. Here's a link of that interaction, so I'll just put that up there. Let me see. Well, when responded to Tim Pool's thing where she said, I've been trying to tell you guys, and Robert Bowen says, I don't think anyone's disagreed with you about the state of the divorce system in our country. We just disagree with you about the notion that men should avoid marriage at all costs. See, that's why you won't solve this problem, because you just want them to just deal with it. And Pearl said, I'd like to take this moment, this was a separate tweet I wanted to read, to beg conservatives to make family court reform their #1 issue this election season.
Yeah.
Crowder is a conservative Christian who waited till marriage, yet even he was labeled an abuser and targeted for parental alienation. This was further spread by the Tradcons. This shows just how bad we need divorce reform. Men are not afraid of marriage, they are afraid of divorce.
I said,
and
in response to this, I said,
no, this was like just on its own. Of course, people still like. I think they still. Somebody mentioned the book, Richard Cooper. Why don't you write up a few thousand of the gals, Pearl, and go protest for reform to policymakers? Yeah, let's do it. Let's do the inversion of the Handmaid's Tale.
Gals, right? Like, okay, so me, Allison, Hannah,
Lauren. Maybe we could get the women
Prim.
who were completely. Do you remember like 7-8 years ago the women who were for leading ladies for shared custody in Canada?
Yeah.
Oh God, this fight has been so freaking long. But let me
women for shared parenting. Yeah. No, and also
they were killed by the Feminist Lawyers Association in Canada.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, no.
But the point I made in response to another post on this was the reason why men are walking away, in my opinion, from what I'm observing, is that many of them no longer think it's possible for women to love men. And in addition to that, they have to hand their life. Like they have to hand their life and their legal existence over to a woman. They have to hand the levers of every aspect of their life over to a woman. And she has been taught that they are oppressors and everything that they need in a relationship is oppression. Okay?
Yeah.
That's
they're not allowed to need anything.
That is a 1-2 punch that men are facing. And what is the conservative response? Man up.
Yeah, no, try harder. Yeah.
Try harder.
Okay, I'm done. I'm out of here.
Too.
I have
all right.
that are the shit is coming out of their ass as we speak. They need to be.
I know. I gotta go too.
Okay. All right. So I'll do the things. Feedthebadger.com/support.
Bye, Karen.
Love you, Karen. Feedthebadger.com/support. This message needs to get out there. Like, honestly, we cannot keep saying, oh, men are to blame, man up. We are destroying everything with that expectation. Okay? Men can't man up out of manhood being condemned by everyone. Right? As oppressive, and the conservatives will not stand up for men. So we need to continue to push forward, even though that this message doesn't get a lot of play, it doesn't get a lot of traction, it's throttled everywhere for, well, it just is because you're not on Team Woman, right? I don't think there is team anything, right? And the more you force people on Team Women, the more you accelerate the disaster that is unfolding around us. And you can look at the immigration, you can look at the intersectionality, you can look at all the LGBTQ crap. It's all the same shit. It is a symptom of the destruction of the relationship between men and women. And we need to fix that. And we need to get rid of this idea that anybody's on a team. All right? And that does not mean silencing men. It means listening to them because they are part of the team. And they haven't been listened to for however long. All right? So feedthebadger.com/support. We need your support to make sure we can continue with this message. The only reason why we have gotten this far is because you guys have taken the effort to support us. That's it. That is so again, if you want us to continue, you need to help us out at feedthebadger.com/support. And if you want to send us a message on anything that we have said during the show, feedthebadger.com/justthetip. We really appreciate it. Tell us we're not screaming into the void, because sometimes it feels like it. Nobody wants to address this. And I can see why, because they're cowards. And when you do address it, when you do talk about this stuff in the way that we have, you get throttled. You know, you don't get the big audience. You don't get a lot of people listening to you because nobody wants to question these fundamental attitudes that we have. All right, I'll get off my soapbox. Back to you, Brian.
All right, well, thank you for the super chat, Xaranx. I'll just read it really quick. $5. He says, this is why I call feminism steep gynocentrism. Watching Phyllis Schlafly debate Betty Friedan about women keeping their privileges rather than supporting the ERA made me think this. Thank you so much. So, if you guys like this video, please hit like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, hit the bell for notification, leave us a comment, let us know what you guys think about these two interesting stories, and please share this video, because sharing is caring. Thanks so much for coming on today's episode of the Rantzerker, and we will talk to you all in the next one.
Are machines, dude. Okay, they are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have like a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.